Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Ann Gillies, and I just want to bring something to you today. People often say to me, how did you get involved in this battle for children? First of all, I want to say that goes back to most of my journey in life. And it began at a very young age for me. I didn't even realize that I was being prepared, though, for really jumping into this battle with both feet in about 2016. At that point in time, I had been practicing. I'm a retired psychotherapist. I'd been practicing for about 20 years, and I specifically saw adult survivors of chronic sexual abuse. These were survivors who had, throughout their whole childhood, been sexually abused for the most part, and then it continued, interestingly enough, and the stats are out there for this, into their 20s and 30s. So they become very vulnerable. Our children are very vulnerable when there is sexual abuse. And so in 2016, I wrote a book, and this is the title of it. I'll show it to you. I hope it comes up. It's called Closing the Floodgates, Setting the Record Straight on Gender and Sexuality. Now, this book is talking about the overall sexualization of our culture up until, at that point, 2016. But it started way back in the 40s. In fact, it started earlier than that. But I began this book in the 40s, talking about Dr. Alfred Kinsey and his corruption of the very research he was supposed to be presenting and his false statistics. So I begin there, and then I track what's happened since that time and the promotion of a radicalized agenda. So that agenda includes the LGBTQ radicals. And there is an agenda within the LGBTQ community to sexualize your children and mine. So that book kind of began my journey more in the forefront. It also had me disallowed from the Conservative Party of Canada because they did not like to be presented, obviously, with research. There's over 650 references in this book. It is not my opinion. It is actual reliable research. Now, I have my opinion at the end, which you will read, of course. But then I worked for several years with the whole conversion therapy issue. And then just this past year in 2022, the end of that, I published another book. This one is specifically, it's called Damaged by the Predators Among Us. This is my personal family story, and it's on pedophilia. I have not only academic knowledge, but I have personal experience on the whole issue of grooming children and the whole area of pedophilia within the LGBT camp. So what I want to say to you, and I want you to hear this clearly, I'm not saying every homosexual, lesbian, transgender, bisexual is a pedophile. Of course not. But there are some within that radical group, who are specifically targeting children and pushing for a pedophilic orientation within our mental health designations. So this is not good. And in 2014, that's what they were asking for with the American Psychological Association. It almost got passed that pedophilia became an orientation. When that happens, it will not be a criminal event. That means that it will be legalized. So I want to say to you that we, Mumma Bears and Papa Bears, have a right and responsibility to protect our children. And that's why I'm speaking today. We must protect the most vulnerable among us, and that's our children. So I'm going to read to you very quickly something that a teacher in Ontario sent to me recently, and it's called the New Language Curriculum for the fall of 2023. Here it is. This is in the intro. This strand focuses on students applying the 7 transferable skills in language and literacy contexts, developing digital media literacy skills, applying language and literacy learning in all other contexts, and engaging with texts that foster an understanding of diverse identities, experiences, perspectives, histories, and contributions. In all grades of the language program, the learning related to this strand takes place in the context of learning related to Strand B, Foundations of Language, Strand C, Comprehension, Understanding and Responding to Text, and Strand D, Composition, Expressing Ideas and Creating Text. Strand A should be assessed and evaluated within these contexts. What does this say? What it says is that every student must be taught that they are to foster. They are not only to accept and love all people, but they are to foster understanding diverse identities. They are to understand their experiences. And I want to ask you this. What 7-year-old needs to understand the experiences of a homosexual, bisexual, heterosexual, trans individual? We do not expose our children to sexual experiences. That is called sexual abuse. It is called grooming. Now, one of the things that's coming this season in Ontario is the pronouns in our school. That in most schools, those pronouns that we've been hearing out in the marketplace and in media, those will be implemented across the board in our elementary schools, that the teachers are to use the pronouns. All children are to use pronouns. They're being forced to use pronouns for themselves and the pronouns that other children day by day change in identifying who they think they are. There is a reason our children are not excelling educationally. Their minds are being confused. Their brains, they are actually learning things that they should never learn, and new neural pathways are being constructed in their brains. And those pathways are totally against our views and values. Listen, Canadians, listen, moms, listen, dads, you have a right and responsibility to train up your child, your children, your grandchildren, according to your views and values, not according to a government legislated ideology. So I want to encourage each and every one of you to come out on September 20th to the 1 Million March for Children. Wherever it is happening near you, rise up, stand up, unite with other parents and grandparents, with concerned citizens all across Canada. We must unite. In 2016, I put that in my book, Closing the Floodgates. What do we need to do? Parents, unite. Parents, unite. Parents, unite. There is no other way to change the tide than for us to unite together, link arms, one with another, put aside your theological differences, and stand together on behalf of our children. Thanks for listening. I will see you in Ottawa. God bless you. Bye-bye.